Let's add a cube, a very simple cube. We're going to scale it in x-axis just like this, and scale it down in z-axis just like this. We're going to move it up, and we can go to edit mode. We're going to select the face, the front face basically, and let's select the edges, all the four edges of this cube, and we can just select one, and we can just go to select and select similar by length, so all the four will be selected all at once. So you can use this trick to select similar object. We are going to do control B. So as you already know, it's not beveling uniformly because of the scale, but it's fine for this one. We're going to move forward. We're going to insert it with I, and we can just extrude it down just like this. Again, we can go with I to insert and E to extrude upwards like this. Okay, we can just do control B, but I think it won't matter because it's not uniform. So let's do control A and scale. Now I think it will happen in a uniform manner just like this. So it's happening, and this is good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it with shift D in Y axis. So shift D Y, and I'm going to duplicate it, and if I press control R 4 times, so it will make copies. Basically it is just repeating my past command. So let's join them together because we are going to create a sci-fi effect out of it. So we are going to select everything, control J to join everything, and in edit mode we are going to select these planes. As you can see, we'll go right click, loop tools, and bridge. So select the planes and just press right click, loop tools, and bridge. So everything will be joined just like this. So this is very useful. You can, but it has to be uniform. Okay, it cannot be like one plane is here and another plane is somewhere else. It should be in alignment with each other. So this is how you can join stuffs. Let's go back in edit mode and just select the top faces of all these, and we're going to just go to loop tools and circle. So now we have circle, and we're going to scale it down, and we have circle, we can extrude it upwards. Since it is for sci-fi concepts, we don't need topology, so we're just going to bevel them just like this. So don't worry about the topology. Okay, let's add a plane, and in the edit mode we are just going to subdivide it, let's say 15 times, and we'll apply a modifier called as wireframe modifier right here. So as you can see, we can change the thickness directly from here, and once you're happy you can just keep that thickness, and if you need something else you can actually apply this modifier, and you can apply one more modifier, that is bevel modifier, on top of it. So as you can see, there is a significant change in our frame, and it will have more geometry obviously, but you can obviously go back and you can choose not to use bevel modifier. So basically this is the basic frame that we can do. We can even further edit it. We can just select the entire edge like this, and we can simply just bridge it. So as you can see, this is filled now. We can extrude along the normals, and we can increase its boundary, and we can actually select all the four corners. We can either bevel them, or it's best to bevel them, basically just bevel them little bit, so we'll have some sort of smoothness at the corners. And there is one more option, we can either give a loop cut right here, or we can directly select the planes. So either we can select the planes like this by holding alt and then selecting the planes, entire planes. Then we can do insert, we can do I to insert, or directly extrude them just like this. Let's do insert, individual insert, or just press I if you don't want individual insert, and you can just simply extrude them just like this. If you want to switch back to individual insert, just press I and you can just extrude them individually. Anyway, that is not required. I think this much is good enough. So as you can see in edit mode, you can just use this directly. It's a good looking panel which we can use it on top of many things, especially sci-fi planes and everything. Let's move to the next one now. Add a cube, scale it in y-axis. Now scale it little bit in x-axis as well. We'll scale it down in z-axis. So we'll go to edit mode, we'll select the top face and we'll try to insert it. Let's do control A and scale, and then select the plane and insert it, extrude it upwards, then again extrude it just a little bit because we are going to scale it just like this. This much is good, and then extrude it again, then again insert it and extrude it inside. So we'll have this sort of structure, as you can see. So basic incident and intrusion can bring a lot of detail to the object. Now we'll select the edge, we'll do control B here, okay, control B to bevel, and as you can see we can roll the mouse wheel up to give smoothness, just like this. So we have our base ready here. We can just build few things on top of it, but let me just give a loop cut. Just 2 loop cuts are good enough, I guess. That's it. And then I'm going to bevel it with control B. So now we have this structure, and now let's go to plane and just select this plane and bevel them little bit. So this will act as a base, okay. And now we'll select these two planes, but before doing this we'll just add a more auto mirror, okay, in y-axis. So now we just have to take care of one part. Now select these two planes, insert them just a little bit, and then we're going to extrude them outwards. Again extrude them so that we can select the top faces, these top faces, and then extrude them upwards in Z direction. So now we are going to extrude them again just little bit, and then we are going to scale them down. So we'll just extrude them just a little bit and scale them down, and we are going to select these faces and we are going to press EY so that we can extrude them in Y direction, okay. So now these are going in Y direction. So I guess this much is enough. So basically we are going to put few cylinders on top of our this platform. So I added a cylinder and I'm bringing it up. So now I'm just positioning it in such a way that I can figure out that how many cylinders we can put it here on top of this platform. So as you can see, I'm just moving it at the corner, at the side, and if I do shift D, I can put one at the other side, and I guess just one more I can put it in the middle. So we have 3 cylinders here, and in the edit mode we can go back, and in fact we can also just select all the 3 and just do Control J. We can join them, but it's fine. uh, we can just select these two planes of the middle cylinder and we can extrude them just like this. So it will look like that these 3 are connected. Similarly I can do that with the other, but let's do Control J and let's use our loop tool so that it will be much better. So I've joined them and I'm going to select these planes, and it would be easy actually. Right click, loop tools, and bridge, so that we won't have much change in the geometry. So anyway, we have been doing this for last few videos. So this is it, and now we can select the top faces of the cylinder and we can edit them further. So we'll just extrude them little bit, and we can scale it down just a little bit and Control B to bevel. Again just the top faces, extrude them upwards, Control B to bevel, and this time we are going to do, I think single bevel is looking much better. Frankly speaking, we can do much more to this, but just in order to keep it simple, I think this is good. This is a good looking panel, which has the basic design and acting as a container. Uh, we can just select everything and we can do Control J. Beware that you need to apply the modifier first. Once you apply the modifier, and then only you can do Control J. Okay, so please make sure to do that. Let's move to the next one. Let's add a cylinder. We're going to scale it in x-axis, and in edit mode we are going to bevel it just a little bit. Okay, in this case we don't need uniform beveling, so I'm moving forward. Control R to give 2 loop cuts, and I'm just moving it somewhere. I think this much is good, and I'm doing a Control B to bevel. Extrude along the normals just a little bit outside. Now let's add a cylinder in this. So we'll go to add mesh and cylinder. So just scale it down just a little bit and move it upwards. Scale it down in Z axis and just bring it down. We can even scale it down a little bit, I guess. Okay, I think this is good. So we're going to duplicate it with Shift D, and now we are going to move it down with GZ, and so right now I'm just trying to be simple, yet I want to give it a sci-fi look. So I'm just selecting the cylinders, I'm selecting the top faces and extruding them. We need to select both the faces, and then let's insert them first and then extrude them downwards. Again insert them and extrude them upwards. So it is acting like some sort of buttons that we can press. We can do Control B, but it won't happen because uniform beveling was not there. So we can do Control A, and now I think, yeah, now it's happening. So I'm just being very simple so that you can easily get the point that modeling is not that difficult. With just few steps, beveling, inset, and this is all we are using. And we'll be using these panels in further projects. So everything will look good. Once everything is merged into a single project, you will see that it's all about just breaking big projects into small projects and then just combining them or doing their assembly. That's all. Like how a car is manufactured, that's all we are going to do. So now let me add something here. Let me add a cylinder. Okay, I could have directly added a cylinder into this, but it's okay. So I just want to make sure that to add few more elements in this. So I have added a cylinder here, and in edit mode I'm going to select this plane. I'm going to extrude it, scale it, again extrude it, again extrude it, and let me give some loop cuts here, I guess. Or in fact, let me just join it with Control J. I think this is a good enough sort of like entrance button that you press to get inside. I think this is good. Let's add a circle now, and we're going to rotate it in y-axis, and we're going to scale it down, and we'll move it to the sides just a little bit. We'll do Control A and location. This is important, and we're going to add a modifier called a screw modifier, and we'll choose axis as x-axis. Step viewport we'll choose 64, and screw length we're going to choose 3 meters, or I guess 6 meter is good. So now we'll increase the iteration to, let's say, 8, and we have a very simple structure of spring. Let's move down the screw value to 4.5. I think this is good. Okay, so if we increase the iteration, we'll have more number of spirals here in our spring. It is still a curve, so if we try to apply the modifier, it won't happen. So just press right click, convert to mesh, and now as you can see, we have applied the modifier. Now we're going to make it as some sort of suspension sort of system. So let's add a cylinder directly here inside the spring. We'll scale it up a little bit in z-axis, and I think this much is enough. Now let's just go to the edit mode. We'll edit the cylinder itself. So we're going to select the top face, again basic operation, extrude, again okay, let me do shift D, right click, and then let's just scale it, and let me do extrude, again right click, shift D, and again scale it, and again extrude. I think you are familiar now. I think we have been doing it for a long time now. So again let me just move it little bit down with GZ, and again E to extrude, I to insert, E to extrude, again I to insert, and E to extrude. This is good. I'm just being very raw, okay? I'm just trying to show you the exact modeling process that you'll be going through so that you won't feel that this is an edited video and everything is so perfect. And it's okay to mess up in the beginning. Everybody start like that. Don't expect anything right from the beginning, okay? If you just follow me, whatever I'm doing, you will drastically improve your skills in modeling. And by the end of the end of this course, you will know that the actual process of creating stuff and actually combining them and assembling them is so much fun. And after doing this, you can actually feel that you can draw anything, you can make anything. Okay, so right now I'm just trying to do again the basic operation. I'm putting a loop cut here, uh, and then I'm going to select the entire ring of planes just like this, and then I'll do extrude along the normals just a little bit. This time we can be little, like this part can be little bigger than the top face, but it's okay. Again we can just do I to insert, E to extrude. This is looking good, and it's taking shape of a suspension system. Now the next thing is we need to just join this spring to the top face and the bottom face. For this we'll be using spin tool. So I'm just selecting the entire edge, the front edge of this spring, and let me just bring our 3D cursor back. Let's go to viewport and activate 3D cursor. We're just going to put it somewhere here so it will act as a center, and now just grab this green handle and just move it gently. We can always choose to change the number of steps from top and also the axis, but this much is enough. This is looking good. Okay, so basically it is connected. This is what we wanted. We can try it again. So just gently put it, and if you press Control you'll see sudden blink. That blink will show the 90-degree thing. So let me press Control, and I'm just, so as you can see there was a little blink there, so it shows that it is perfectly in 90-degree, and now we can extrude it upwards directly just like this. Okay, so if you need exact angles of 90 degrees, then you have to press Control while rotating the object that you're trying to rotate. And same thing we are going to do for the bottom part. We'll select with by pressing Shift and right click. We are going to place our 3D cursor, okay, somewhere here. So now if I grab the green handle and if I rotate it, so it will come like this. Let me press Control while doing it. So Control, and as you can see this blink sort of thing that comes, it shows that the 90 mark has come, 90 angle mark, and we can just gently put it down. So this is what I was thinking to do, and looks good now. We can just do the shade smooth. If you want, you can check the normals, but I'm going to remind you again that spin tool is going to be a game changer while modeling. Okay, and just with extrude, inset and basic operation we were able to do that. Let's add a sphere and apply auto mirror, and we'll just select the wireframe mode and see through. We are going to select the top face, okay, just like this. And this is good. If I apply loop tools and flatten, you can see the entire space which was round is now flat. Okay, let's do something about it. Let's Control B this edge just a little bit. We can always increase the number of loops by rolling our mouse up, so it has some smoothness. It is looking good now. And let me just select that vertex, and by pressing Control plus I can grab the entire circle and extrude it downwards. So all you need to do is just grab the center vertex and just press Control plus plus plus, so that you can achieve this thing. You can grab it upwards. I mean, you have to extrude it. Again, I'm going to select the edge and Control P to bevel. Remember, whatever we are doing on the top, it's automatically happening at the bottom. We can select this entire rings. We can extrude them inside if you want. Let's select few of them and extrude them along the normals like this, just a little bit, just to give some sort of design to it. So this is a very basic thing. Just wanted to show you that we can do stuff with sphere as well. Now let's add a cube. We'll scale it in y-axis. We're going to go to edit mode directly because I don't think we need auto mirror here. So let's select the entire cube and let's bevel it directly. Okay, just a little bit. This is good. Now let's apply a loop cut. In fact, let's apply two loop cuts. So Control R and we can just give two loop cuts. Let's bevel them gently with Control B. Or let's not do that. Let's select the plane which is at the center, and so right now I tried to scale. Scaling won't work. We need to do extrude along the normals to get this sort of effect. So I hope you understand the difference between scaling down and extruding. Okay, so let's select the top and bottom faces. Let's inset them just a little bit. As you can see, we don't have uniform scale, but still we'll go with that. We'll just extrude them along the normals. Let's select the entire edge, or let's select them. I think it's not happening, so I'm going to select them manually. And in, or you can just choose the plane also. Okay, sometimes if you just don't want to do this manually, you can just select the plane. So plane is selected and just Control B to bevel just a little bit. Again, it is not uniform because we didn't apply uniform scaling, that is control A and scale. So anyway, it is okay. So now let's go back to the edit mode. Let's see what else we can do. We'll select the top and bottom plane just like this, and let's extrude them gently inside. So I'm going to leave it there. I think it is a very basic sort of panel, some sort of battery sort of structure. So that's all. Let's add a cylinder again, and we'll scale it down in Z-axis. Okay, let's go to edit mode and select the plane. We will extrude it just a little bit, and then we'll scale it down. And I think we can do inset, then again extrude inside, and again I to inset, and E to extrude will bring it outside the cylinder. So now we can again scale it, E to extrude, again E to extrude, S to scale, again E to extrude. So just very basic operations. Again we can just do control B. Now this is something I have told you in my previous course. Just select two planes and press shift control plus. If you press that, automatically it will select the alternate planes just like this. Now we can do I to inset, and we'll do extrude along normals inside, so it will give a good effect. We can also do it outside, so there is no problem at all. And we need to do beveling if we are doing it outside, just a little bit of beveling. So as you can see how good it is looking, just basic operation, it is looking very nice. And again I'm just selecting two planes, and I'm just trying to do the same thing, but I guess it's not possible, so we will do something else. Let me just select the top plane, and let me just bevel it. Again top plane, I to insert, E to extrude downwards. Okay, uh, it is anyway having this effect of sci-fi. I'm going to select these five planes, not all, and I to inset just a little bit so that it won't affect the geometry, and extrude along the normals. This time I'm doing it outside. Again randomly I'm just selecting few planes. Again shift D rightly this time and scale it down. So if you scale it down, it will look that it goes inside, but it is there. We can extrude it along the normal. If you do control B, we'll have this sort of effect. Let's make the bottom little pointy. We can select this plane here, we can extrude it outside, and we can scale it down just to make it little bit pointy. So this is looking a good panel. uh, some sort of machine sort of thing, we'll be using it. Now again let's add something else. Let's add a cylinder again. Let's scale it down in Z-axis, and if you just press A, so entire model will be selected. Let's give it a loop cut, or let's select the plane. Let's extrude it downwards a little bit and scale it, and again I to inset and E to extrude inside like we did before. Again I to inset, E to extrude outwards. So this is all. We'll just do the beveling, the normal beveling. Now at the top we'll press Ctrl R, and we'll give two loop cuts somewhere here, and we can in fact select the entire ring of the planes by pressing Alt, and then let's extrude it along the normals outside. Okay, so this is okay. And now we are going to do something different. I guess we can just select the top plane and I to insert, E to extrude top, and S to scale. Now basically we can either select one by one all this plane, or we can go to select and select random. So if you can see, you can change the ratio of the randomness from here down. Okay, so the planes that we have selected, so basically Blender will select the planes randomly, and we can do extrude along the normals just like this, whether inside or outside, that is up to us. But you can do that, you can use the select random option. But if you see it, there will be like very randomly it has selected the planes, so few planes might be hiding under critical spaces, but it's okay since it's for. So as you can see here, it has selected few planes, but if we do the beveling, I think it will be fine. So we have just done the beveling, and you can see it has a look of sci-fi effect, some sort of sci-fi effect. Or we can always choose to unselect the planes. So if you think that we don't need those planes, we can just press shift and just unselect these planes, which is not required. Okay, so we can do that, and then once you're happy you can proceed with the extrude along normal option. So we'll have this, and then obviously we can do the beveling just to make it look little good. So this is again a very simple and a very basic sci-fi panel. Okay, now let's add a cylinder. We'll scale it in z-axis. Okay, and select everything. We'll give it a loop cut at the center, and then we'll bevel it just a little bit, a single segment bevel. Okay, now we can extrude along the normals. We'll select it outside. It's best to give it before doing anything. Let's give it a auto mirror so that whatever we do at one side, automatically it will happen on the other side. Press N, go to edit and auto mirror in z-axis. So now in edit mode we can just do the extrusion, scale, again extrude, and again extrude and scale it down, and then we can just, it is looking really good. We can just do little more changes. I'm selecting few planes, press I to inset just a little bit, and E to extrude outwards just a little bit. This time we don't need extrude along normals, and we can select, I'm just randomly selecting the planes. Okay, and then I'm doing I to inset just like this, and this time E to extrude, I was thinking to put it inside just a little bit, just to have the balance of inside and outside. So again, top face is I to inset, E to extrude downwards, I to inset, and E to extrude upwards. And we can obviously, I think beveling is good. So single bevel is looking good. So just basic operation, and as you can see, it's looking like some sort of a panel or a cylindrical panel, a sci-fi panel definitely that we'll be using. I hope you are parallelly making the models with me.